God! I told you you'd never forget this game. You will never forget this game. We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's the way to step up, man. That's the way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing over there. That's the way to freaking lay it on the line. Guys, I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's the way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again. You did it again. All right, it doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. That's what champions do. This is not happenstance, man. This doesn't just happen. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making, all right? We are all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just stay the course. That's 12, and that's 4 in the division. All right, I got 2 game balls, all right? First one here, 6 receptions. I can't read this first one. I'm going to say 43 yards, 2 tugs. This first one since 2021. Jared Patrick.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you for embracing me. It's been a hell of a ride the past 2 years, and I wouldn't want to go on this ride with anybody else but y'all. Appreciate y'all boys.
All the stats you need is he won the freaking game again. Jake Payton.
Hey, I freaking love you guys, man. Let's get 13 next week.
Yes, sir. Hey, you guys are warriors. You're warriors. Good win. Break it down.
Hey, like he said, this just don't just happen, boys. We're fucking different. Again, I'll say it again. This group's fucking different.
Win on 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
All right, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on into our 15th year. It is week number 14 of the NFL. Got a little, there we go. There we go. Interesting week. Interesting Thursday night football game. You just saw it there. Dan Campbell talking about his team and what they did. And by the way, I just want to. I gotta put it out here. I was on an island. Okay, I was the only one that was on the Green Bay Packers. And they by the way, they damn near pulled that one out. Sometimes when you look at a week, you got to find something. I actually thought that the Green Bay Packers were going to win that football game, and it had nothing to do with anything as far as the Lions. Listen, the Lions are doing what they're doing, okay? They've won 11, 12 in a row, and they clinched the playoff spot. They've never done it this early. They never did what they are doing right now as a football team, that being the Detroit Lions. All right, I have a Detroit Lions shirt. Okay, I'm from the area. I spent 1, 2, 3. I spent 4 years up in that area when I was a kid, and I became a Lions fan. But I've always been a Barry Sanders fan. So it's one of those things where you take a look at what they are doing right now and how historical it is. It's unbelievable. There's also a video out, and obviously it was a setup, but it was still kind of funny. The husband was in Target before the Lions game. Okay, and he said we have to leave 11:30. We have to leave. Game starts at noon. That's when. That being said, it was funny. And then he gave her a reminder of 15 minutes. Hey, Lions game. We got to leave in 15 minutes. First of all, he should not be in a target before a football game he wants to watch with a woman. Okay, that alone is a problem. Okay, you don't do that. All right, but when we got there, he said 11:30. He gave her 2 warnings, and then he left her hanging at the Target. Went home, watched football game. She had to Uber home. I love it. It is that. Now, granted, again, it was a setup. Get it, but it still was quite funny. At least I thought it was funny. But that's just me. But on a fine Sunday morning. We get him in. God, I'm gonna puke. Hold on. Let me just bring him on in. I just want to back this upside the head every single time. It really just irritates the snot out of me that it's 2 times, not just 2 times. But 2 times in one season, one time with not a full schedule, and then he goes 16-0. The bum that he is. Good morning, Nobi. Good to see. I don't know. Is it good to see? Yeah, it's good to see you. How you doing, my friend?
I know it really rubs you wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It rubs me raw. Rubs me raw. Pisses me off, and not only that. Yet again. I was one wrong. I could have been right there with you. I was just so mad. I just couldn't spit, but
I was a little worried on that Monday night game. I was like, don't know. It was. Hey,
I was hoping for your Browns to win. I was rooting so hard, just so I didn't have to come out and admit it. Not once, but twice. Perfect week. Congratulations, by the way. That's a feat. Listen, I've been doing this show forever. We haven't had one get them all right. Never mind do it twice in the season. Never mind. And I even said it the last time you did it. I was like, well, I'm impressed, even though it's not all 16 games. I think you did it when there was 14 games. But you got to be impressed. I'm 16. I'm
lucky. It's just
you and your damn,
and I have to say,
golf game now, the pool table, it's the bowling alley now, the freaking NFL picks. Thanks a lot, I appreciate it.
I'm sorry about that. I really feel sad for you.
It's hard to be humble. Screw you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have to say that. I've kind of come up with a formula that it sporadically works. And I look at the games and I go right through and I pick all the games like right away. And then I kind of, there's some games that I have in my mind and kind of mull over and maybe change once or twice.
Yes.
And, like last week, I got lucky and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So,
now, during the show last week, did you hear anything that made you change any of your picks last week, or was that just hot on? You didn't have to make.
Let me look. I'm looking at last week's schedule, so let's see what. Here we go. Come on.
I got them all up in front of me. I only missed the Seattle. I only missed the Seattle game, and I'm still stand behind the damn. I still stand behind the damn pick, but obviously,
maybe it was it wasn't that game. Jeez, why is this not? I can't remember. I know maybe the Monday night game was kind of iffy. Maybe even the Sunday night game was kind of
Buffalo, San Francisco.
Yeah, I kind of questioned that. And
Baltimore, Philadelphia. Did you make any changes on the Baltimore, Philadelphia game?
No, I picked Philadelphia right away.
Gotcha.
I picked Philadelphia right away. It's just, it's Lamar Jackson. It's a big game. He chokes. And
Yeah.
Actually, I did pick San Francisco immediately. Like the first, I was like, this is a must-win game for them.
Yeah.
And then I saw the forecast. It's like, yeah, San Francisco's not going to win in the snow.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I do want to make a comment about this past Thursday's game.
Hey, let's go ahead, because I was on an island with the Green Bay game.
I'm telling you, Dan Campbell, do you want to talk about some stones to call that play on 4th down in their own area
Territory.
and then at the end of the game, stones again to call 4th down because he didn't want Jordan Love to get the ball again.
And by the way, that guy took a lot of criticism from last year, and
for as much as he goes on.
And by the way, that didn't deter him at all. By the way, this year, because that's all he did was go for it on 4th down. And he wasn't afraid of it. And not only that, you think about that. That is a coach. That's a player's coach, because he loves what happens on the football field with it.
God! I told you you'd never forget this game. You will never forget this game. We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's the way to step up, man. That's the way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing over there. You're gonna freaking lay it on the line. Guys,
I love that guy.
Guy's insane. Now, this is what I know, because I looked it up. I went back into the Couch Potato archives, and listen, I was all for the Dan Campbell pick. And I don't think you were. Well, no, I know you weren't part of the discussion where we were talking about when they hired him. Yeah. Everybody just thought he was a moron. He was an idiot. I mean, biting off legs and chewing up kneecaps and things. We just thought that everybody seemed to think this guy is just a complete and utter moron. And what he did is he's turned the franchise around. Okay? Because the simple fact of the matter is when you take a look at the Lions have clinched the playoff spot. First of all, they've never done it at winning 11 or 12 games in a row.
Nope.
This early in the year, and not only that, with how they're doing it, and I say how they're doing it because how they're doing it is with injuries that are piling up on that football team. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about anybody else, but anybody else in their right mind should take a look at the Detroit Lions and go, there's no way they're going to do it. They're losing this guy. They're losing that guy. And you wouldn't be wrong thinking that. Right. But as he said in the video, they figure it out. The resiliency, the toughness and things of that. This team is unlike any other Lions team I've ever seen play, and that's even with Barry Sanders, which, by the way, I wouldn't put it over the Barry Sanders years, but as far as impressiveness compared to who they are and what they were just a few short years before he showed up, you got to be impressed. And I've always been impressed with him because I liked the guy, because that coach right there, those guys will walk through fire for that guy.
And you know what? I mean, we talk about the injuries, but these type of players is who Dan Campbell goes and gets.
Yep.
He fills that roster up with guys who emulate him, his attitude. It's next man up, and they just continue to just kind of. I want to almost say there's been several games they've blown out people. Mm-hmm. But it's just like they're just grinding. It's like a grinder, and it's just
they're dogs,
man. Grinds them.
Dogs.
They are. They're dogs. They are
And,
big
and
time
that's,
dogs.
by the way, for those that don't know, that's not a put down. That is nothing but praise.
Yes.
Because football is a different sport. When you look at basketball, it's kind of graceful in the way that it's done. There's no nitty gritty. There's no, except in the 90s. Nowadays, it's just a pussyfoot league, and I can't even stand watching the NBA right now.
Oh God!
Because it's got awful. It has nothing to do with basketball. It has to do with who's asked the league and ESPN and everybody else wants to kiss, and I can't stand it.
Nope.
Now, I'm not saying that they don't kiss Patrick Mahomes' ass, but guess what? There are 31 other teams in that where it's not an issue. So, it's just a different game. And, baseball doesn't have the toughness. And, everybody says, oh, that guy's tough. They're not even close. It's night and day. And that's one of the reasons why I will sit on a Sunday and watch football all day long. Not all day long. I do this show, I start watching football, get through red zone, then watch that all day long. That's why. Because nothing compares to the sport and doesn't stand up and doesn't. Could you imagine a team like this in the NBA? No one would give them any credibility. Now, it took them a long time to get that credibility at where they're at right now, obviously doing exactly what they did, which, clinching. By the way, there's two divisions in football, and they're both in the North that I'd say they're the toughest in this league. And guess what? And that's what it is. Because you can say that, you can look at the team in last place with the Dallas Cowboys, the Chicago Bears. There's 6 games that they could have been in, and they could have been on the other side as a W.
Yeah. You talk about toughness in the NBA. There's no team that's out there right now that you consider tough,
Right.
But back in the day, Detroit Pistons.
My favorite, by the way.
Of Detroit, the New York Knicks. They were, and those two teams. That kind of, if you want to say the NBA, those two teams back in the 90s were tough teams.
They're solidified tough, along with the Celtics, along with the Bulls, along with the Lakers, along with even Portland. Portland had some pretty physical games. They just never got on national TV to where you could actually see it. So, the 90s was football.
The 90s was great NBA basketball.
Oh,
great.
Yeah. It's the only time I watch. Now,
Phoenix,
that being said,
Phoenix Suns, when they had
even
Charles
to
Barkley.
a certain extent. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you remember when in the Tri-City Mall they had that thing of Charles Barkley and sand in the middle of the mall? And it was made of sand, by the way, folks. It was, now the Tri-City Mall is no more, but that's where it was, and it was a big thing. Now, that being said, I got a guy in the green room.
Oh boy.
And I want to bring him on in after, because I don't know how much he's seen of this, but I'm going to put it out there because I got to hear what he has to say. And this was just after Thursday Night Football.
God! I told you you'd never forget this game. You will never forget this game. We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's the way to step up, man. That's the way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing over there. You're freaking laying on the line. Guys, I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's the way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again. You did it again. All right? It doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. That's what champions do. This is not happenstance, man. This doesn't just happen. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making. All right? We are all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just you can't see me.
Relatively based up on normally don't see him right now. There he is, a little bit early. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, a little bit early compared to when I normally come in, right?
Yeah, I mean, fashionably late. Are you kidding me? You know, and now that being said, you saw the video, you seen what we've been kind of talking about a little bit before you came in. I went back into the Couch Potato archives, and I remember and saw that, I was all for the Dan Campbell guy because I like that. But everybody thought this guy was a screwball, knucklehead, and everything else. I mean, even you, Cuervo, you're like, gee, I don't know, it's just, but 3 years later, here we are. We're talking about a team that has clinched their division or clinched a playoff spot, and they're about ready to take the division here fairly soon over, the division that obviously your Chicago Bears play in, and the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. And I was telling Obi this before. You take 6 of those Bear games and you turn those into W's, you're talking about a hell of a division of football. And records in reality don't mean much compared to, and it's the reason why we call this division the black and blue division of the NFL.
And it always has been, and hopefully it always will be. So, Obi, good to see you as always. Yeah, look, I wish I could remember exactly what I thought about Dan Campbell when the Lions hired him.
You thought he was a knucklehead.
Probably, same take that a lot of people had. Oh, what a meathead. This guy ain't going to pan out. This type of coach don't work anymore. Well, guess what?
Guess what? It does.
2024, and these are the type of coaches that are coming back.
Yes.
They're coming back now, guys. That's
And Cuervo, think about this. We always talk about when it comes to the head coach, if the coach can get the players to buy into what they're selling, they're going to be successful. And that's exactly what's going on there right now in Detroit.
Yeah, and and I did hear a little bit of what you guys were talking about a few minutes before I came in. It does come down to the culture change that has happened in Detroit. But what I love about Dan Campbell most, and maybe next year we'll have a guy like this in the Windy City. You got to respect the energy he brings every single Sunday, and that's hard to do. I've never been an NFL coach, but I could tell you from my experiences in my walks of life, as a leader of people, you have to bring your energy every day, and you have to keep your guys motivated to do the job, get the job done, help guide them through it when you're going through the tough times and weather the storms and all those cliches that we hear. But there's truth to it. It sounds like cliches, but there is truth to it. So I gotta take my hat off to Dan Campbell, man. Like he is a guy that has really changed what the Detroit Lions stand for. And they're not the laughing stock that we've known the Lions to be anymore. They're not the team that you just look at your schedule and you're like, yep, that's a W. It's Detroit. Now it's the complete opposite. You look at Detroit, you're like,
you look at it, it's like, oh my God, that's an L.
Yeah. How are we going to survive this? You know what I mean? Yes. So, and then I heard you guys talking about the fourth down. Now, I didn't, again, just a reminder, I don't get to watch Thursday games as of right now because I have school those nights. But it sounds like he did a lot of gambling, a lot of fourth down, late in the game. And it just kind of feels like Dan Campbell is going to live and die on that sword of gambling, going for it on fourth down. And it's going to be one of those situations where when it works, that awesome, hats off to him. And he's gonna look like, a guy that and Obi said it, it's that the hat that says grit. That's what they stand for up in Detroit. They have a lot of grit and they grind, like you guys said. So it's either going to be, man, what kind? Dan Campbell's balls are so big, he's got to use a wheelbarrow to carry him around. Or on the other side, it's going to be like we saw last year in the NFC Championship game. We're like, oh my God, what an idiot! He cost them an opportunity to go to Super Bowl, this and that. So it's really one extreme or the other when it comes to going for those type of fourth downs. And for this week, hey, it paid off. Got them a division win, and we'll see what's in store for the Lions going into next week.
If I remember right, last year after the game, the NFC Championship game, somebody had asked him about going on it for fourth down, and I think his response was, "That's what got us here. That's who I am. That's what we're going to do. Why am I going to change my philosophy now?"
Exactly. And by the way, he could have went into the offseason and rethought everything.
He didn't.
And came back as a different coach, and he didn't. And it's one thing to be a coach. It's another to have the pressure to win. Now, that being said, and I don't mean this in a bad way, the pressure to win in Detroit is not as high as it is in the others. All they needed was a little bit of improvement going forward. And that's so far what he's done. This is a guy that has built this football team. Now, I don't mean by personnel. I mean by attitude. This is different. He's not the GM. He's not the one that brings it in. He just brings it, makes the suggestions to it, and then it's done. It's up to the GM to who he's going to bring, and then he coaches it. And listen, there's something to be said about a guy that will do that regardless of who they bring in. And also a guy that can get the best out of guys you never heard of, by the way. All right. You look at the Lions roster. You're asking, who the hell is this guy? Now, granted, they got their superstars. Don't get me wrong. But the other guys we talk about, Bryce is the one, okay, from 23 to 60. I mean, these guys come day in, day out, and they are, I don't know how much of what you heard, they are dogs, man. They play, and they know their, and to steal the term from The Rock, know your roles, shut your mouth. And that is working, and that's what you're getting. What are they? 11 and 1? 11 and 1
They
right
are
now?
12 and 1. 12 and 1.
12 and 1 and a 12-game winning streak. I mean, they
11
lost
game.
week 1.
11-game winning streak.
11
They
games.
lost in week 2.
Yeah, so lost in week 2, and then they have and by the way, you should have won that game too. But take away from that, you're looking at a football team that no one would be talking about, regardless, especially after last year. No one would expect them to be where they are in the standings. No one would have expected them to clinch this early, because that's just not what Detroit Lions history is, and what Dan Campbell is changing history in Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I want to, and I'm going to divert back to, one of my favorite things is watching college football. There's a guy in Arizona State that reminds me a lot of Dan Campbell. He's got that rah-rah. He's passionate, and his name is Kenny Dillingham. And he's got this program. He's got this state of Arizona, the city of Phoenix, all riled up right now. They went out and they just completely smash-mouthed Iowa State yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State had some turnovers in the second half. But you want to talk about, here's the call of the game yesterday. Arizona State's down 7-3 early in the second period. 4th down and 1 at their own 30-something yard line.
mm-hmm.
And Dillingham goes for it.
Yeah.
Fakes it to Cam Scatteraboo, throws to the receiver wide open, 64-yard gain down to the 3-yard line. We score. Game over. I turned to my wife. I said, that took some stones.
Oh yeah, it does. And those, and by the way, those are the kind of coaches fans like. By the way,
yeah,
just real fans of the game. They love that kind of coach. They love a guy that brings it week in, like you said, Cuervo, week in and week out, bringing it every day as a leader, and especially if you're the coach of the Detroit Lions. I mean, God, the expectations of him walking in there, especially with the meathead title that he had, the expectations weren't there. I loved it. And I received so much crap, by the way, for loving this guy and thinking that he would turn this franchise around. And now, that also being said, I didn't think he turned it around to where it is today. So, there's,
And Cuervo, I agree with you. I think the Chicago Bears need to bring somebody in, not in the kind of in the mold of Dan Campbell, but going back is I think this guy, whoever you guys bring in, has to have a little bit of the history of the Chicago Bear football. And kind of, know what the franchise is about, know what the whole organization is about, and know exactly what he wants to do and how he wants to accomplish it. Now, can he get a GM and can he get the owner behind that person? We don't know yet, but I kind of feel like that, and that's kind of like, maybe the Cleveland Browns. I mean, do we have that guy? Do we have Stefanski? Is he that guy? Right now, he hasn't showed a whole lot to me, but the Chicago Bears, I think they need somebody to come in and be that guy, that leader. Sonny, you were talking about a coach. Yeah, you could be a coach, but you also need to be a great leader of men. And that's what almost all of these organizations need.
And think about this. The Bears with Thomas Brown obviously being the guy that is unfortunately with the task of leading this team, but there's one guy that everybody is talking about and interviewed for the job, Cuervo, and I don't know. When I read it, I wanted to know what you thought of the guy that has been put out of the NFL for his stance and his emails and things of that sort. What is your feeling about the former head coach of the it was the Raiders, but it wasn't Oakland. It was Oakland, by the way. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, what's your feeling about the rumors swirling around this guy?
I like John Gruden as a coach. I just don't know if he's still up to par with the game now.
What?
What I said, Bryce, God, clean your ears, Bryce. What I said was I just don't know if he's up to par with the game now. Like, I like him as a coach. I think he brings a lot of good energy, just like Dan Campbell does. I just don't know if X's and O's wise he's at where, can he catch up to what's going on in the NFL today? And I think that's where some of his struggles came from when he went back to the Raiders after so long. I just think X's and O's wise, he was behind, and that's what caused the Raiders to have a lot of setbacks. And so, I like I said, I mean, I don't think that's going to be a route that the Bears go. I do like a lot though what Obi just said about bringing in somebody that knows the history of the team, and it'll mean something to that coach to restore that franchise. Now, that being said, if that's the direction that they go, then I think hands down, 100%, no doubter, no brainer, the guy that it needs to be is Ron Chico Rivera. You bring him back to the city of Chicago, ask him to restore that franchise.
Yep.
And I think that's the guy that can get it done. If you want to go in the direction of somebody that has history with the Chicago Bears, for those that may not know or may not remember, he was the defensive coordinator in 2006 when they played the Indianapolis Colts in the Super Bowl.
Yep. And think about this, by the way, all the news that was going out, Jim Harbaugh didn't even receive a call from the Chicago Bears. How about that? That's sad enough. About that.
Let me tell you why that happened, Sonny. And I knew it all along, but there was no confirmation ever. Well, actually, you guys probably both know who Kevin Warren is. He was the Big Ten commissioner. Now he's the president of the Chicago Bears. He's the team president. There's no secret. There's no secret. Him and Harbaugh didn't get along. They didn't get along. So that wasn't going to happen, And did Ryan Poles, the GM, at least want to talk to Jim Harbaugh? I'm sure he did. But
Eberflus wanted to fire him, by the way, Poles wanted to fire Eberflus. That's in the news. It's out there, and I even put it in the chat. This is the reason why guys can't be successful. And Ryan Poles, listen, he's doing what he's doing with the roster, by the way, which is fantastic, regardless of what their record is showing. But the problem is Eberflus, it wasn't his guy. We talked about whose guy is who and everything else. It's
why do you think? Why do you think he didn't fire him at the end of last season, Sonny? Let me ask what you think. Why do you think that happened?
Well, I knew it because I know who the Chicago Bears are, right? I mean,
the Bears are who we thought they were.
Because they do this kind of thing. Because they push the weight of what they want, which is not doing what they need to do to be a good football. Because of ownership, get their nose in the middle of everything and stop Ryan Poles from doing what he needed to do in order to be successful fairly quickly compared to where it is now.
So how did they stop him, Sonny? I want to know if you know the reason why. I know the reason why, but I want to see if
I don't know the reason. I just know they said no. So what's the reason? Then I'll bring in my guy in the green room.
Obi, do you know?
No.
Have you read up on why they chose not to fire Eberflus?
I'm still scratching my head on that one, but whatever. What? Why?
Yeah, it's a stupid reason, guys. But the reason is because George McCaskey, the owner, didn't want to buy him out that early in his contract. He had a 5-year deal, and to pay him out and to buy him out after just 2 seasons, they financially they were like, well, it's going to be stupid to pay 2 coaches, one to coach the team and the other one is to not coach the team. But guess what? That's happening anyways.
That's the NFL. That's the NFL
difference
too.
Between 2 seasons and 2.5 seasons.
Your guess is good as mine, Obi. I have no freaking clue. But it goes back to what Sonny says. It's like that's just a small piece of the dysfunction that this team has.
Yeah.
Sounds like pride.
And trust me, it makes every Bear fan out there, and I think I speak for 99.9% of them, makes them want to hit the bottle even harder.
Absolutely. And that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Catch us from 9 to noon. Guess who's here?
Can you dig it, sucker?
By the way, he's wearing the towel. He has the towel on, and he's ready to show it off to everybody. Why? Because it's a big week. It's the rematch. Yes, admit we lost it. It's the best smile on the internet. It is Bryce from Brooklyn. How you doing, Bryce? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Sonny.
I'm doing the Bryce. I'm
good to see
you. I'm shaking my head. Let's go.
Good to see you, Sonny. Good to see you, Cuervo, the fine co-host of this show. I'm happy to see both of you.
Oh, hey, Bryce, you have something on your shoulder. You might want to get it off. It looks dirty.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. By the way, are you wearing a Browns shirt today?
Yep.
I know it's brown, but okay. There's that ugly logo.
What logo, Sonny? It's just a color.
It's a color
he
and a
put it up
helmet.
in I mean, they can't come up with anything original, so they just put the freaking helmet as their logo.
They got the
There's nothing about that logo that should be seen in public. It should throw it away in the back of a freaking shed and no one can see it.
You're just jealous. You're just jealous right now.
Jealous.
You're just jealous right now.
Oh,
but after today, the Steelers are angry. The Steelers are angry today.
I can't wait to. You know what? I can't wait till 1:00. I really can't. I wish the game was on right now. I can't wait.
Let's go. How can time go faster?
Wait for right now as the Steelers are taking on the Browns today, and a game that it has a little revenge, factor in it. They couldn't get the win over in Cleveland, so now the Steelers are going to try to get the win on their own turf.
Hold on, Sonny. Before we get to that, can I comment on something that I heard before I got in here?
Oh, sure.
I said this before.
Is
No.
it something I said? Oh, okay.
Something your two other guests said. That
Oh boy.
Okay.
what do I always say about them? They're some of the most reasonable, diehard fans that you'll meet. That's why I love talking to them. But this is also, and I've said it before, why they disgust me.
God.
First of all, let's talk about Obi. Browns fans talking about firing Kevin Stefanski.
I never said that.
A guy that hasn't, in their estimation, hasn't accomplished much or hasn't done the things that they want him to see. He has won Coach of the Year twice for an organization that has been dysfunctional for almost 30 some odd years. Okay. Now, if he was the spearheading the Deshaun Watson situation, you want to get rid of everybody, sure. But if he wasn't, the only person that needs to go away is Haslam. He's the only person. And if the GM wanted to bring on Watson and was right there, then get rid of him too. But Kevin Stefanski is the first competent coach the Browns have had in years. And I want to throw up because I actually have to defend the Cleveland Brown organization, which I never want to do. I wish Obi and other Browns fans would stop the madness and recognize that you actually have a competent coach. I'm not saying he's great. He's won Coach of the Year twice, though. That's number one. Number two, I can't, you know what bothers me? I can't believe Cuervo. This is a guy who got on here, okay, when it was time for the enemy and all that, was like, nope, I want a competent coach. The enemy's good, but he doesn't call plays. But he wants to turn around and talk about bringing back Ron Rivera, who during his tenure, not Lovie Smith, who was 10-6, okay, when they let him go. And since then, what's happened? We're going to bring back and go back to Ron Rivera to be our head coach, who was just let go in Washington. I just don't understand the thought process around how we want to pick our coaches, about who we want to lead our football team. I just can't understand it. So we don't want that. We don't want the coordinator. We want Ron Rivera. Like I just don't get what my two guests are talking to. Look at this.
Number one.
I don't know what they're looking for in a coach. It's like they want Vince Lombardi, Mike Tomlin, and Bill Belichick rolled into one. But if we can't get them, give me what's super familiar to me. Give me something that made me smile. Not was successful. Either give me Belichick or give me something that made me smile. I can't believe these two.
Cuervo. Can I go first? I never said fire Stefanski. Never have I said that. Now, I did say, is he the right person? That's my question. Is he the right person? I think he could be.
Well, I think he and I can just throw this in there. Two times with Baker Mayfield.
Hey, and now I just lost my thought. I was just going to say something. I had a great comeback, but now I lost it. Went somewhere, and I'll catch it. We'll come back.
Because it was nonsense.
No, it was not nonsense. It was not nonsense. And by the way, we speak about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the only organization to beat the Lions and the Eagles this year. And is Baker in Cleveland?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We just talked about
it last week. You should.
I know. No, I'm just saying. I just shook my head. No,
you should acknowledge that, and also acknowledge that they made the right move moving on from him. That was better at the time. Okay, we're not going to get into this. I don't want to hear this from someone.
He doesn't want. You're right. We're not going to get into this. Even though it's wrong, we're not going to get into it.
Right. I want to hear what Cuervo has to say. Cuervo, I want you to respond to Bryce now.
Yeah, I got a rebuttal to what Bryce said. Bryce, I was only responding to what Obi was saying, because Obi used the example of.
He froze because it was froze because it was about to be more nonsense. That's why.
Oh my
What a
God.
time to freeze.
I
You
know.
gotta love
Because none of our listeners want to hear this nonsense that's been spewing out.
Oh,
I think you did
I think I can finish maybe somebody because we were talking about bringing.
Oh,
here
there
he
he
goes.
is.
There
I
he
think
is.
you go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it was more about because Obi brought up the point of bringing back somebody that has history with the franchise, and I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, if you're going to have a guy that I think, in my opinion, that Rivera would be the best fit for somebody that has history with the team. He played for them. He was the DC in 06 when they went to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's the guy I want, Bryce. I'm just saying if you're going to go off of that criteria of somebody that has history with the team, Rivera is probably the best fit.
Lovie Smith has history with the team. Why do you need to play there?
Well, yes, you're right, but they're never going to bring Lovie back. And it's sad to say, but because of the way they booted him out after a 10-6 year, I just don't ever see them bringing Lovie Smith back. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would love to see Lovie back.
Admitting that they were wrong, and they will never do that, by the way, regardless of who they are and how they are. The Bears will never do that, and because they won't admit that they were wrong. And that,
Would Lovie even take it?
The Bears are who we thought they were.
That's a mutual thing. Does Lovie want to come back, and do they want Lovie back?
I don't think. I don't. If you were Lovie, would you want to come back?
Well, hold on. And I'm just going to say it. Lovie Smith right now as a head coach in the NFL, I don't know how I feel about. Yes, I know it was in mop-up duty, but at the same time, this guy couldn't get his team to in Houston to show up, when he had when he was actually leading them. He couldn't get it done. Now, that also being said, same thing in Houston that happened to him in Chicago. The ownership didn't do him any freaking favors by grabbing up guys that could come in and make a difference, in free agency. Or that also being said, coaching, getting the guys around him that can help him be a good head coach. Say whatever you want about a head coach. He does need the support of his assistants in order for him to be considered good too. Either way, he didn't have that around him, except obviously in Chicago, and obviously 10-6 wasn't good enough. Where they're thinking that wasn't good enough compared to where they were in their history makes no sense to me, and it shouldn't have happened, and it did happen, but that's what the Bears do. They listen. Now, granted, their idea of moving on to get somebody better, you got to realize you just let a guy go that is 10-6, and then guess what? You follow it up with, what was it, Trustman? I think it was Trustman. Oh, good God. Why they thought that guy was going to be the next big thing is sad.
Are you talking about after Lovie? After Lovie?
Yeah. Was it Trustman?
Listen, it makes me, I just want to punch a wall when I think about that time, because instead of getting, listen, guys, they had an opportunity. I think I've told this story before. They had Bruce Arians in the building. Bruce Arians! And they went with Mark Trestman instead. To this day, it still makes me punch a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And I have to say, we're talking about head coaches. I just want to say, I really hate saying this, but I have to give my hands clapping.
Say it.
And say kudos, Mike Tomlin.
That's right.
18 seasons of winning football at Pittsburgh.
Gotta respect
that is absolutely
respect it, man.
Amazing.
Gotta respect it.
And I also want you to admit that when you watched Hard Knocks, you saw the real leader of the AFC North. You saw the stark difference between your coaches and our coaches. You saw it. Go ahead.
John Harbaugh is a great coach, let me tell you.
Yeah. You saw
I want to get Bryce fired up.
I'm already fired up from these coaching takes.
All right. So I guess I have to admit by default that you have to respect it.
I got one more for you, Bryce.
I respect it. I do respect it. That having been said, of course, that's the name of this show.
But
This is a what have you done for me lately? Not a winning season. It don't mean anything. Okay. Where Tomlin has failed is in the last 6 seasons. Okay. Say whatever what outside of that, obviously, getting to the Super Bowls and all that, wonderful.
That's
but
fair.
This is a what have you done for me lately? And I'm not saying listen, if they ever got rid of him and decided, hey, what have you done for me lately? Not enough. Okay. So you've been doing great. That guy would take one step out of the friggin' building and have a contract in his face from 13 different teams in the NFL. Okay. So that having been said, what you're able to do with what you do, and we were talking about that with the Lions, with the personnel that you have, the regular season, wonderful. But you got to do something. And by the way, regardless of how good they're playing, regardless of Russell Wilson and how great that he is doing, which by the way he is, no one's gonna. I can't argue it. They better do something in the playoffs. Now, is Tomlin going to lose his job? Probably not.
Those numbers, he's cool.
Probably not. But you'll be hard pressed for anybody to say, well, he better do something next year, because this winning during the season and not doing anything in the playoffs is going to get really old. And it's going to get really old for the fans. It's going to get really old for the owners as well. You're right. So
everything they've done this year is to win a playoff game and make a deep run. That is very, very fair. But you all watched Hard Knocks.
No, I haven't done it, but I'll listen to what you said.
Obi has. Obi, you've watched Hard Knocks. Cuervo, have you watched the first episode of the new Hard Knocks of the AFC North?
Oh. Okay. All right. Something's going on. He's hearing
put
something.
It like this. When you watch, you'll see the difference.
Right.
Oh, you can tell, there's Mike. The other guys, good coaches, and then there's Mike Tomlin.
Okay. Well, hold on. That being said, there's Mike Tomlin, but is he this guy?
You know what's funny? I was thinking about that the other day. In a different way, Dan Campbell inspires his team almost. That's where him and Tomlin are actually similar. I'm very surprised because I was not a fan of that hire.
I went back into the couch potato archives. By the way, who was the only one thought that was a good idea?
Presenting himself, I was like, oh, I've kind of seen this before. What has he done to get this job? And he has proven me wrong. And I'll be the first. I'm not like Sonny Clark. I don't mind coming on and immediately saying I was wrong. I don't have to go. I was I can say it. I was wrong. So, but he kind of inspires his troops like Mike Tomlin does in a way. So I would love to see a Pittsburgh-Detroit Super Bowl.
That being said, I want to get just really quick.
That would be a bruising, smash mouth.
Yes.
Super Bowl.
So, now, that being said, I just want to throw this out there. I want to get your opinion. After the heat that he took in the playoffs last year for going 4th down, this guy has not changed his pedigree at all. At all. Because he could have very easily second-guessed those ideas of what he does. By the way, Detroit Lions are the most team that goes for it on 4th down in the NFL, just to let you know. He hasn't changed his pedigree on what he does from year in. And by the way, very well could have based upon the heat that he took last year, Bryce.
People like to talk about results bias. And I get it, because a lot of those decisions, trick plays, 4th downs, you don't get it, you're terrible. You get it, you're a genius. On the one hand, I do appreciate and like Campbell's aggressiveness and trust in his offensive line. I do believe sometimes, regardless of results, I have a problem with the specific decision-making in specific moments. Mm-hmm. Like that 4th down on Thursday. It's like I didn't – the field goal's there to make and win the game. I don't understand.
I do.
You had to.
I do, because he didn't trust his defense to stop Jordan Love.
Right. So let me back up. Okay, Obi, in that instance, you know what? I'm going to adjust mid-sentence. You're right. He can talk about his personality. The reality is you didn't trust your defense in that game. So So you know what? In that moment, I see it. The NFC Championship moments, I believe he mismanaged the game. That was mismanagement of the game. So it's good to go for it on fourth down. You still overall have to manage the game, not just play to your personality. This is why coaches break tendencies. Sometimes you have to break tendency in order to win. Mm-hmm. So to Obi's point, he corrected me midstream. You're right. I think that was the thinking, even though he didn't come out and say that. He didn't trust the defense. And so
because they were hurt. They couldn't stop him.
They couldn't stop him. So we might see more of that going forward. But overall, I do believe sometimes, and Obi, we talked about this when it happened, like last year, he can mismanage a game to stick to his personality, and that can come back and get you.
Well, there's something to be said about that, though. We were kind of talking about that earlier, is that if he would have changed how and what he has done from last year to this year, would they be in the situation where they have clinched the playoff spot earliest in franchise history? And that being said, far better football teams, by the way, even though I'll keep the bias a little bit. I'm going to be a Barry Sanders guy. This team hasn't quite got to where they were with Barry Sanders, but they don't have that prolific player that is Barry Sanders and what they're doing right now. So that is a huge thing for this football team. Now, the question is, and until Cuervo gets back, and then we'll get to the game. I want to find out from Obi, do you think that the Detroit Lions, based upon their personnel today, based upon all the injuries, are they capable of getting to the NFC Championship game and are making it to the playoffs? And I'll throw that to Obi, and then I'll find out from Bryce what he
do. You mean making it to the Super Bowl?
No, making it to the NFC Championship game and then making it to the Super Bowl. Because I think that obviously they got to get further than they did last year based upon kind of, where they are.
Well, that would be the Super Bowl.
Because it was the NFC Championship game. Yeah. But can they get back to it based upon the personnel that's on the football field? And then will they be able to win that NFC Championship game to make it to the Super Bowl?
I'll answer it this way. The Lions do have the personnel to make it to the NFC Championship game. If they continue to win, it's going to be played in Detroit. And I would have to give them, I mean, right now I see it as Detroit and Philadelphia is playing in the NFC Championship game. Those two teams are the hottest teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. They're playing probably some of the best football. I mean, the Lions, what really scares me about the Lions is their defense. Mm-hmm. And it's not because they're a bad defense. It's because they have so many injuries and they have so many guys coming in and trying to fill in, and they just don't have the experience. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's Philadelphia and Detroit in the NFC Championship game, I know exactly what Philadelphia is going to do. They're going to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, and then when they throw it, they're going to pick on number 0 for the Lions because that guy is a pass interference machine. He does not know how to defend. He can't. He's handsy. He grabs. He pulls. He tackles. The Eagles and any other team that they scout with the Lions, they're going to pick on that guy until he proves that he can stop it.
I made the question last week. Who was the better defense? Was it the Ravens or was it the Eagles? And right now it's the Eagles.
It's been the Eagles. It's the Eagles.
I know, but I posed the question.
Look, the Ravens are good against stopping the run. The Ravens are good stopping the run. They've been consistent, but overall, I think the Eagles are the more talented.
Right. And just kind of basically run with that. Now, that having been said, okay, we're going to start it. We got to get it because although I love what we've been doing, I love the first hour.
I don't know why we're talking about this game because I already have it. I didn't need to talk about this game.
We're going to talk about this game.
So, that being said, the guy that wants to talk about it, I don't know if he has not the 1, not the 2, but the 3 keys of beating the The
Say
Cleveland Clowns? Is
That's
that what
right.
it is?
No.
That's their name.
We are Cleveland Browns.
That's their name. I don't even know who the Cleveland Browns are. I know who
Yeah.
the Cleve Lost Clowns are. I know who they are. I know who they are. Listen,
Yeah.
first of all, let me just come out and say,
Is it supposed to snow in Pittsburgh today?
no.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It's not supposed to snow. I'm so sick. You know what? I'm so sick of the Cleveland Browns already. I'm sick of it. It made as sick as I was losing that game. What made me sick is everything that's happened afterwards. You know, I love throw the records out the window. Division rivals are gonna talk spicy, but that doesn't mean I don't have to be sick of hearing their mouth. Okay, I'm tired of hearing Del Pitt and Newsome, who's clearly the weak link of the corner group, and he knows it. But the guy is talking. Like he's Denzel Ward 2 or whatever. And then I had Myles Garrett basically cut a WWE promo after the game. I'm just sick of it. You know, they had their Super Bowl in Thursday, and now you get to come back and see us in Pittsburgh. And I have been waiting for this game because there's not going to be any of this sneak up on you. There's not going to be any of this taking it for granted. There's not any of this looking past you to Baltimore or Philly or anything like that. We're focused right here on the Cleveland Browns. Here's the thing. I sum it up to this, and it's similar to the first game. You can't sit back, play soft zone, and just wait for Jameis to play YOLO ball. He might. You got to go take it. So don't sit there. And just play soft zone. Come after this guy. Throw different looks at him. You got the personnel. People are healthy. You got Cam Sutton back as a veteran. Come after this guy. Mix up the blitz, the blitz pressures. Play out some. Go against tendency. Force this guy into mistakes. Because if you can force him into mistakes, you can rattle the offense. You can't let him get comfortable. I would say that's number one. Number two, don't have any shanks. Punt the ball. When you have to punt, send him back and give your defense chance to do what I do. And make sure that you can throw different looks and he's not playing on a short field. You don't want to give this guy situations that allow him to start getting that Jameis confidence where he's just going to start, chucking it all over the field. Punt him back. Corliss Waitman's got to have a good day. Send this guy back. Let him go the length of the field and make him be a playmaker. That would be number two. And then number three, I don't care. You can talk George Pickens and moonballs from Russell Wilson and the battle of the DBs. You got to be better at the line of scrimmage. You got to be better coached. You got to have a better game plan. You got to put the offensive line in position where they're blocking Myles Garrett and taking care of the other guys to win the line of scrimmage. Because if you're not going to do that, you have a better chance of getting a repeat of what happened last time where they get momentum, they stop you on fourth down, you look uncoordinated, you're getting a snap off late. Be better coached on offense in terms of the line of scrimmage. Have your plan, execute it, be aggressive, and don't make these silly mistakes that can keep the Browns in the game. Those are my three keys. One quick thing, because I felt Obi saying this about pass interference. People can talk about Joey Porter Jr. all you want because he gets some penalties and he gets flags. The difference is from the guy in Detroit is Joey can cover. So if I had a fourth key, put him on Jerry Jeudy and challenge him and say, they think this dude is the next coming of whatever. You go do what you do. Throw some help every now and then. Erase that guy. Like, he'll make a couple catches. Don't let him have an impact. And that allows you, bringing it back, that allows you to be exotic on defense, throw different looks. You got to put your best corner on Jerry Jeudy and say, you got him. The Broncos didn't do that last week with Surtain. I don't know what they were thinking. They should have. That's what you pay Joey Porter. You drafted him to do that. Let him line up, do that. Give him some help every now and then to show different looks. You got to challenge this guy. You can't let him – he's a great route run. You can't let him just get off the line and start dictating to the defense. Pittsburgh does those things. We'll be sending the clowns back home where they belong, eliminated from the playoffs finally, so we don't ever have to talk about that sorry bunch again. Those are my thoughts.
Still got 2 games next year, but that being said, Obi,
I'm talking this
take
year.
up-
We're tired of the Cleveland Browns. I'm tired of the Cleveland Browns. I don't want to hear from them anymore. Want to beat them, send them home, end their season so they can go like Obi discuss how they need to fire the coach who won Coach of the Year twice and do other dysfunctional things.
Talk about putting words in my mouth. Wow.
Those are my thoughts. Go ahead.
Obi.
Well, I feel like that this game today, we have only one shot to win this game. And if that is, and I don't think it's going to happen because, well, it's a rivalry game. It's to Cleveland. Cleveland beat them 2 weeks ago. They're pissed. They're mad. They want to stick it to us. The only hope that I have is the entire Pittsburgh bunch is thinking about playing the Philadelphia Eagles next week and looking ahead of this game.
They're not.
What did I just say? They're not. And we just got to go ahead and let Jameis be Jameis. Yes, he's good. He could throw 300, 400 yards, but he's going to have maybe a touchdown or two and probably 3 or 4 picks. Just let him do what he's going to do. The only other way that we can win this game is if we have a resurgence and a reincarnation and a comeback player of the year type of performance from Nick Chubb and goes out there. We give him the rock 25 to 30 times. He gains like 200 some odd yards. Pittsburgh can't stop him at all. And we win 24-21, but we're not going to do that. It's going to be. This has the recipe of getting out of hand quickly, and the Pittsburgh Steelers burying us.
That being said, Cuervo, unmute yourself. What's your take up on Steelers Browns in Pittsburgh?
Oh, it's Steelers. It's Browns. It's Bryce against Obi. This is what I've been waiting for, man. This is what it's all about. This is what this show is all about. When we can get on and talk about two of our people with their teams going up against each other, right? That's what this show's about. You know, I've learned that Jameis Winston is very much a yin and yang type quarterback. You get some good and you get some bad. And when the good is good, you know, the bad
it's really
is
good. Yeah.
No, God, the good is really good and the bad is really bad. That's how I would say it. So, now here's the thing about this game, though. This game is in
Pittsburgh.
Let me make sure. Yeah, it is in Ketchup Field. Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure I got that right. That the Browns did is that kind of deflated them going into today's game, or are they re-energized, ready to go? It's a divisional game. They're going for the sweep, and so that's the question. But for Jameis to have the game he did last week, and for them to still lose, I get it, man. I know how tough that can be. And then for the Steelers, I mean, I've been seeing that they're talking about bringing Russ back next year. Bryce, I don't know how you feel about that. I'm sure you're good with that, especially with the way that he's been playing lately. Not bad for a guy that's cooked, huh, Bryce? So, but
26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions last year, and you're just cooked. Yeah, you're cooked.
Look at that. I mean, that looks like a cooked quarterback to me. So, but
courtesy of Sean, I invented football, Peyton.
Yeah, I invented football. Right. Yeah, look, I think this is going to be a typical AFC North, physical, hit people in the mouth type game. And when it's all said and done, when the clock says zeros, Bryce, I expect the Steelers to get away with the split for the season. I expect Jameis to do what he does and have high highs and low lows. So that being said, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game.
I tell you, I looked at this game from up and down, right and left, and you know, they always say, well, they don't always say, but there's a big time saying it's better to be lucky than good. That was the Browns against the Pittsburgh Steelers just a few short weeks ago. They had zero, and I mean zero, business winning that football game. Zero. But what pisses me off about that game, and Bryce, you should be pissed off about it too. They walked in thinking they were going to win that game. They didn't give any thought to that. Wait, this is the AFC North. Wait, oh geez, this is the division of rivals. Wait, we didn't think that this is the toughest division, regardless if you're 1-9, 1-10, compared to you being 10-1. It's you throw the records out of the window each time those teams in the AFC North play. And the Pittsburgh Steelers walked into Cleveland thinking they were going to just kick their ass because they're who they were. Okay. And so that having been said, they walk into their own field thinking that they're going to win this game without they are mistaken. And we will know that within the first 10 minutes of this football game if they're just thinking they're going to just cruise through this game. Now, say whatever you want about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson needs to have a good game here. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, if they're going to make a deep dive into the NFL, Russell Wilson needs to be the guy that he used to be in Seattle and bring his team together and to get the wins. Now, I never said he was cooked. I just said he had two horrible seasons that could have defined whether or not he was going to end up playing well.
He had one horrible season. Yeah,
but the records are records. You know, that's all I'm
saying.
Okay,
the team wasn't great his second year, but right. he wasn't horrible though.
I'll give you that. But at the same time, I just think that where the Steelers are, and you can say if they don't make a good dive into these playoffs, and then next year at least get a good dive into the playoffs, you could see your head coach walking, and not by choice. I think that it could be the what have you done lately era is going to catch up to him if they don't do what they need to do in the playoffs. They need to make a good dive. I want to see them definitely make it past the wild card. Because they're not going to win I don't know if they're going to win the division or not, but they're definitely not going to get the bye. So they're going to be playing wild card weekend. And listen, you better get that win if you're Mike Tomlin. And then you better get the next one after that. And what it needs to happen is Obi, we've been saying it for over 30 years. If Russell Wilson does not put his foot on the neck of the Cleveland Browns, this could be a problem for them going on for the rest of the season. Now, that also being said, of course, that's the name of the show. If they get behind and they get the grit to come back and win, that's going to be all important for them as well. So it's not about how they win or if they'll win. It's how they win this football game today. There's two things that you want to see. You want to see Russell Wilson get after it and kick their ass, by the way. And then if they can't, you want to see if Russell can come back and win a football game. One of those two things that happen, you might have to look at the Steelers in the playoffs to make that deep dive because of who they got at the quarterback position. And I hate to say it, and I know Bryce from Brooklyn hates it when I say it. They're only going to go as far as Russell Wilson's going to take them this year.
Yes and no. I mean, look, he's the quarterback, so he's got to play well. That's why Mike Tomlin put him in. But the reason why he's playing well is because the Steelers play complementary football. Russell Wilson is not Russell Wilson to me is not an elite quarterback. I know some people I've heard talk about his numbers have been almost in this elite status statistically and some of the advanced numbers. To me, he's not. He's extremely competent, good quarterback, and that's what they need him to be. He's not.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh, I'm talking just right now. I think he's borderline Hall of Fame. Yes, there's going to be conversations because he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one. I'm not. Is he better than Lamar? No. Is he better than Joe Burrow? No. But he outplayed Joe Burrow. So let's talk about that. Is he better than Mahomes? No. Like the top 5 to me are the top 5. But Russell Wilson is extremely competent. He's got a Super Bowl ring, which none of the other quarterbacks in the division have. So he can play complementary ball. What did I say? Can he be a little better throwing over the middle? Can they have a plan for that? And can they diversify the throws? And look what they did against the Bengals. They did that. They got to build off that. That's where he's never going to be great at that. Can he be better? So if he can, they can have success. But to me, you got to beat the Browns. You can't let the Browns sweep. Do you know the Cleveland Browns?
You can't get swept by the Browns.
Regular season have not beaten the Steelers at home in 22 years, 21 years.
Wow.
You believe
I did not know that stat.
In the regular
That's
season.
a crazy stat.
In the regular season.
And they beat them in the playoffs, which is why Browns fans talking about Stefanski is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
Ludicrous. Stefanski has actually made you relevant enough to beat Pittsburgh, your Super Bowl. And you want and there's going to be conversations of well, is he a good enough coach? Like, what are we talking about? You haven't had anything to compare it to. Your coaches have been trash.
By the way, when they won that game in the playoffs, was that the next week after they beat them, or was it 2 weeks? Because I know it was
next week. It was the next week, right?
It was the next week.
But
right?
let's put it in context. Pittsburgh arrested a lot of starters because they were already in. And Baker got a regular season win in Cleveland. Yes, but Mason Rudolph was the starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
He was still struggling from that. He was still struggling from the. He was still struggling from the incident where Miles ripped off his helmet and swung at him.
By the way, one thing that will live in Steeler history and Browns history that defines the AFC North. You heard my go off last week about pussyfooting around. That wasn't pussyfooting around. That was I'm gonna skull you right here. And I missed that part of the game.
Today.
Yeah, and listen.
Myles Garrett was a clown then, and he's a clown now.
Yeah, he's a Brown.
So if TJ goes off, let's just say he does, and Myles doesn't, based on Miles's logic, the best defensive player goes through TJ now, right? Since that's all it took was you finally went off against Pittsburgh.
By the way, I forgot that last week.
Games.
Oh my God, what a dumbass comment! But it's coming from the Browns, and they're pretty much dumbass all the time. So it didn't surprise me very much. So
I can't wait to stop talking about the Browns. A 3-10 team talking like they're in the mix. Like I really just want to end the season, like get the win, end their season mathematically where there's no chance, like we've done so many times, so they can just play out the season and hopefully fire Stefanski. Go ahead and do that. Let's see how that works for you. Do other dysfunctional things that we know they're going to do. Obie's Browns.
Oh, hey, by the way, Sonny, you and I talked about it before these two guys got on. Who got all the games right last week?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bryce, you were right there. Sonny, you were right there.
Twice in one season. It's luck. First time wasn't a full schedule. The second time, full schedule. Sickening. Makes me want to puke.
Dear God. So Bryce, hey, gentlemen, I got to get going, but I'm going to tell you right now. If for some reason the football gods look down on me today and look down on the Cleveland Browns and we take a win, Bryce, you are going to promise me that you will be on next week.
Of course I'm going to be on next week. I'm going to run it. The football gods could not be that cruel to me. Oh my Lord.
And that would be cruel, right? Yeah.
Oh.
That would be
So
cruel.
basically, everybody on Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Even Obi. Okay, and yeah. So
Yes, I'm
Cuervo.
on
Cuervo, right now, the way it's lining up, college football round 1, Tennessee.
I was just going to tell you.
Going to go to Ohio State to play in December at the Shoe.
God, what a at the shoe.
At the Shoe.
At the shoe.
At the
Right
shoe,
now.
yeah.
I mean, we won't know the real matchups until like about 11 o'clock today, 11 o'clock Arizona time. But the way it's lined up right now, Tennessee will travel to Ohio State to play Ohio State in December at the Shoe.
Well, before you leave, who's better, Tennessee or Michigan?
Man, you know
I had to get that one in.
I know you did.
You know the balls are better.
Yeah.
You better, Naomi, you
What?
guys better win that game.
Yes.
You better. Listen.
Because
It's
I'm
bad
gonna
enough
tell
to
you,
watch to
if-
a bad Michigan football team. They shouldn't be in the position
You
they're in
better.
right now,
The
just
chatter-
because of that reason.
Tell you the chatter right now that I've been hearing from my brothers who live in Ohio, the chatter is if they don't win, if they don't make a deep run into the playoffs, Ryan Day will be gone.
Mm.
And
Real
the
quick
guy
question.
that they're looking at, Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel would be an excellent hunter.
Really
Or
quick, is this the year that they expanded the college playoff?
yes,
12 to-
or the other player,
You're
the other
lucky,
coach,
You're even lucky you're even being thought of in the playoffs in the first
The
place
other
after
coach
that
is
loss
being
to
talked
Michigan.
about
That
to
would have kicked
come
your
into
ass right
Columbus.
on out of there.
the other coach that's talked about coming into Columbus, he is the current head coach at Indiana, Signetti.
Interesting. Okay.
So we'll see. If it is Tennessee, Ohio State, go Bucks.
I don't think it will be though, Obi. I think
don't
there's
think
going to be
so.
some changes. I was
I
going to
think
ask
they're
for your
gonna-
thoughts
they're gonna make
before
some
you headed out.
Yeah.
There's going to be some changes. Because with Texas losing, with Penn State losing, which we all knew that was going to happen. Penn
Yeah.
State, they're frauds, man. I'm sorry, they are. They're frauds. But
They are.
who else lost? SMU. I don't know if
SMU had that game. They had that game.
Yeah.
And then
So-
God.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But listen,
Okay, if they fire Stefanski,
Arizona,
I can't believe I have to say this. If they fire Stefanski, yes, Vrabel actually would be a good choice to be the head coach.
But
I'm talking about
firing him
Vrabel
now.
going to Ohio State.
I know, but I'm also saying he'd be a great choice for the Browns.
Right. He's with Cleveland right now.
I know.
He is
That actually would make sense. They
Yeah.
shouldn't fire Stefanski, but Vrabel would fit very well into the AFC North.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Like there's
And
always a chance.
one more
There's always
college
a chance.
football. Arizona State, if they get the 4 seed, they get a bye in the first round, and they play their next game at the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. A home
By
game.
the way, how is Boise State ahead?
If it's Tennessee, I'll see you there.
Because Boise State won their championship, and the only game they lost was against Oregon on a last-second kick.
Okay. All right.
That's why
That's
Boise State's so high.
I don't know. I don't know how they figure that out.
Anyway,
Just
gentlemen,
makes zero
see you
sense.
later. Bryce,
All right,
we'll
Obi.
see you next week.
You will.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Suck it up. It's Suck It Up Sunday next week, and we'll
Lay
have
it
them
up.
in here.
See you later.
So,
Bye.
that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. How long do we got you for, Bryce, before we get you?
Oh yeah, I got about 15 more minutes.
Good. Then we'll go right to the next game that is up on board. It is the Chicago Bears on the road taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And the 49ers, oh my God. I mean, they are in the news, right, guys? I mean, God, that's all I'm hearing about is injury after injury after injury after injury. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there is one injury that I think really affects this football team the most. I mean, forget about Brock Purdy, okay? Brock Purdy, listen, I'll say it, and you can get mad at me if you want to. The game manager that he is, I'm not saying he's a bad football. I'm just saying he's a game manager. This loss of McCaffrey, it changes the dynamic of this football team in reality. And if you look at him when he is in the lineup, McCaffrey becomes a guy that kind of makes this game very interesting in reality. And listen, Chicago has been in how many games, Cuervo? Like 6 games they've been in that could have very easily went the W side. And you want to talk about a crazy, NFC North, it could be that way. Listen, and I don't know if the simple fact of the matter is that Thomas Brown is going to be able to lead this football team after the Eberflus debacle and everything else, but it is somebody different. So I'm going to shoot it to Cuervo. Cuervo, your feelings up on this game, do you see it as winnable based upon what is happening as far as the injuries are concerned and everything? And by the way, here it is, guys, right here. So you got what's happening here for this game this week. The Bears injury report is, I don't want to say it's just as bad, but it's bad. But what's your take up on the game today, Cuervo? I mean, I think this is a game that can really be talked about it and be a lot of fun to watch today.
Yeah, so I expect those questionable guys to play. It's already been said that they're going to play now, and I'm talking about DJ and DeAndre Swift, the two that you see there as questionable. They're going to play. I'll give you a name for the 49ers that I think, while not having Christian McCaffrey is a big deal, yes, I think they've shown though that they can still function and they can still play at a high level without Christian McCaffrey. And that's not a diss at McCaffrey. That is more of a compliment to the offense that Kyle Shanahan runs in San Francisco. And they really have that luxury of having the next man up, which was Jordan Mason for what, 6-7 weeks before McCaffrey came back. Now the problem is Jordan Mason is also on injury reserve. So now they're relying on their third string running back, Isaac Guerrero, I think his name is, or something like that. So that's where part of the problem is. The other big name, though, the other one that is really going to give them problems, I think, today moving forward, depending on how long he's out, Trent Williams at left tackle. That one's a big deal. That one is one that I think is really going to hurt the 49ers with teams that, especially that if they have an elite pass rusher, that's going to be an issue. So I think the Bears have a chance? Look, there's always a chance. Everybody's got a chance in the NFL, guys, no matter who's playing who. I mean, hell, the Carolina Panthers, took the Kansas City Chiefs to the end. They only lost by 3 points. So, it's any given Sunday in the NFL. And for the Bears, I think they benefit from a beat up 49ers team. And I think that's what gives them an opportunity to win this game today. Now the Bears have their own injuries, as you saw there. However, I think, there's no denying that the injury report for the 49ers is way worse than what the Bears have going on.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be an indicator in today's game. But the question is how much? So Bryce from Brooklyn, what's your take up on what you're seeing in San Francisco? And before you leave, I'm going to shoot it back to Cuervo because I have a follow-up question. But what's your take up on that?
So the issue with San Francisco is that the injuries have finally caught up to them. You don't use injuries as an excuse, but they can be a reason. Yes. And there's simply, when you're this beat up, and what we're also seeing is Brock Purdy is an interesting case because I think he's a good quarterback, but he needs the weapons around him in order to play well. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that for $60 million is going to elevate other guys. I think he's very good. So they got a real decision there. The 49ers are just unfortunate because they've just been so beat up, and you can only replace so many guys before you start to see it. I mean, they just look like a shell of themselves against the Bills. I don't think they're as bad as what they've shown against the Bills, but it's really rough there. It's just hard to evaluate them because when everyone is healthy, they're a great team. But when they start losing any team that loses as many key guys as they have, you're going to have an issue. I mean, look, the Bears, the Bears are on the road this week. Are they going to get the coaching bump? I could see it happening. They're coming in. You don't know what you're going to get. The 49ers are a little beat up. So I don't know what I picked in the pick 'em. I'm leaning towards picking the Bears. This might be a game time decision.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think injuries are a big part of football games. They define some games that when you look at it on paper, you go, 49ers. But when you talk about what is going on in that game, as far as Trent Williams, offensive line, you say whatever you want about him, that guy's a stud, okay? Aaron Banks being out is horrible on that offensive line, okay? And then you're losing out on Nick Bosa and Drake Johnson. Both of those guys are out. And you better hope that Greenlaw can play in this game. But you also lose out on your safety. Odom is out for this game. So then you have a questionable guy behind him. And I can't say the guy's name is Huffagana or something like that. I don't know much about him, but he's the guy that's going to go. And he's questionable for this game. Thank you very much. But he's got to step up. So
he's a stud, man.
I'm going to tell you right now, based upon what I've seen, and you get a surge, regardless of what the situation is, you get a surge with your new coach coming in. I actually am picking the Bears to win this football game but here's one thing that I know. The 49ers can ill afford to lose this football game. So I'm going with the game time decision as well. But if the 49ers think they're just going to kick the Bears' ass today and they're going to get the victory, they better rethink that thinking, because especially with where they are in the standings, and not just within the playoff run in the NFC side, but just within their own division, they better get their stuff together. Arizona Cardinals are better than you guys. The Seattle Seahawks right now, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, they're better than you are right now. So you better show up to play, and you better go up. What do we always say? November, December. You better show up, because this is the time, this is the place to be the team that you're going to be throughout the playoffs, and the 49ers can ill afford it. But I think the thing that right now that takes me over the edge, picking the Bears over the 49ers, is a Christian McCaffrey injury. The other ones are there. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's the one is. Because why? I think Bryce was right. He leans on his guys, through this whole thing. Now, that also being said, can he elevate players? That being Brock Purdy? I think if he gets a $60 million contract, I believe the team thinks he can, so he better. So that's something to keep in mind. But also, players respect people who can get money. So if he does get that money, I think he can have an influence on that. But that having been said, go ahead, Cuervo.
Quick timeout, Bryce. I got something for you. I don't know if you are do you watch? I don't know if you watch like pregame stuff on ESPN or. No George Pickens for the Steelers today.
You know what? I knew his hamstring. He showed up on Friday.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Just got announced just now. They just announced that no Pickens today for the
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I'm glad they have Mike Williams. They've been getting him ready. He's gonna have to play big minutes. Oh, that's gonna be
I gotta go change
exactly.
my fantasy lineup. I gotta go change my fantasy lineup because I got Pickens.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Yeah.
a tough one.
So
That's a guy you really, because you don't have that dynamic number two. The Steelers are going to find out about what it's like to have life without George Pickens. Ooh,
Right.
that's a tough one. That's a
you got
that's a
even
rough
with him.
one.
I think some thinking about Pickens. Is he worth the nonsense that he puts in week in and week out?
Right now, he is. He is.
Exactly. He is proving, hey, you just deal with it. It's not Antonio Brown level. It's slowly moving up to that page, but it's hard to get on an Antonio Brown level in reality. So yeah, in pretty good shapes there. But back to the game, So Bryce, who do you have in this game, and why are you going to pick them?
So if you got to pin me down, Cuervo, I think you get the coaching bump this week. I'm going to pick the upset and go with your Bears. I think the Bears.
Well, if it isn't Todd Connor,
the Bears find a way to get the win out of the bye week. Cuervo, if you don't come out of this against this team that's injured and find yourself able to get a win here, I just don't. I mean,
there's no hope, right?
They won't win for the rest of the season.
Here we go.
They won't lose. They won't win for the rest of the season. I don't know what their schedule is, but they don't win this game with key components out of the football game. That tells you where the rest of the season is, and I think they can do it. And that's the reason why I'm on Bears this week. So, Cuervo, do you have it in yourself to take the San Francisco 49ers or your Bears over the 49ers this week? Who do you got and why?
Bryce, are you looking?
I'm looking.
This is the Bryce Poe. I like this one.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Miyagi. He's like, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, listen, I'm confident and I believe in the coach bump, as they call it. And I think what we're basically saying, guys, is that Thomas Brown in his first game as a head coach of the Chicago Bears is going to do something that Matt Eberflus could not do in 2.5 seasons. Now, what is that? That is win a road game on a Sunday. And as ridiculous as that sounds, it's true. He was 0-19, I believe the number was, on the road on a Sunday as the coach of the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
If Thomas Brown wins today, he's going to do it in his first game, which is crazy.
You're on. Bears.
I'm on the team that starts with a C, ends with an O, and in the middle has HECOG. Do you remember the skit, Sonny? You don't remember from Saturday Night Live?
The funny thing is, you bring that up, and I just watched this earlier this week on YouTube. It's funny that you brought that up. So, that having been said, the question I want to pose to you, I told you I'd swing back and get this, okay? And I want to get Bryce from Brooklyn before he gets off there. Kyle Shanahan, rumors trading Kyle Shanahan to the Bears. What's your take up on it? Do you like the idea? How do you feel about Kyle Shanahan as the head coach of your Bears?
Look, if there was a universe where that actually was possible, well, I guess it just depends on what the 49ers are asking for in return. I just don't think that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Look,
but you would like, if you can figure it out without losing key personnel, would you like the idea? But the problem is, if you're going to pull that off, you're going to lose key personnel. And who would that be that would be acceptable to you as far as that is concerned?
Like which head coach to trade for or what to give
No,
up?
no, you're going to lose key personnel if you're going to bring, and I'm talking about players. I think you'll lose players if you're going to pull Kyle Shanahan. Who would be good enough to go in it?
I don't think so. I don't think they would trade players. I think it would just be draft picks and money, because that's what it was when the Saints traded Sean Payton to the Broncos. It was for a draft pick and cash. Back 20 years ago, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded for John Gruden, it was for draft picks and cash. That's like the pattern when it comes to trading for head coaches. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kyle's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's gotten his team to Super Bowl twice. I just don't know if it's really worth doing it. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth doing because I think the 49ers will ask for too much. The rumors are so crazy because there's been talk about Kyle Shanahan. There's been talk about Sean McVay. You really think the Rams are just going to trade him away? I just don't see that happening. What are the 49ers going to do if they trade away Kyle Shanahan?
You better hope they do, because that I'm telling you right now, I think McVay would be great in Chicago. And listen, the Rams, you say whatever you want about it, they're definitely declining. I mean, they haven't recovered for the Super Bowl win. They haven't been able to bring. So I like it. So Bryce from Brooklyn, what's your take on Kyle Shanahan, and what do you think about Sean McVay? Because I was going to bring that one up too, because I love the Sean McVay idea in Chicago more so than Shanahan. But Bryce,
he's already annoyed.
Yes.
Do we have to talk about this?
All right, Mike Tomlin, after they get kicked out of the wild card game. Give me Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, there it is. Throw the chair shot. I got it.
Wow.
There is no way that this is going to happen.
No.
They're not trading Kyle Shanahan for anything. Sure,
right.
I've always said anyone can get traded, but it's not going to happen. So I don't know where these things are coming from. These are like Sonny Clark rumors that he just wants to
make that one
out there to troll Cuervo. It's just, it's not going to happen, guys.
What about McVay?
No, listen, Bryce.
With the state of the Rams right now, what about McVay? Because listen, they are in a decline. You say whatever you want. They win some games. I'm not saying they don't, but they're definitely in a decline.
Let me tell you where this came from, Bryce. And as much as we want to say it's a Sonny Clark thing, it sounds like a Sonny Clark thing, right? But no, this actually came from, if you know Mike Florio from NBC, he's the one that started this. And then it made it the Colin Cowherd show, and it just blew up from there.
I think I put
like,
a video.
What are we talking about here? It's not happening.
All right, guys, I got to get out of here, but no, it's not happening, Cuervo. Sorry to disappoint you.
I'm not disappointed at all. I know it's not reality. So
Jaguars going to win today, Bryce?
Who do they play?
Jacksonville.
Tennessee.
I didn't pick them. Tennessee.
No Trevor Lawrence.
No Trevor Lawrence.
No, you're not going to win.
Yeah, I think, listen, you change that idea if you have Trevor Lawrence, and there's the big news right there. We'll get back to that when we talk about it, but,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear what Bryce has to say about that, but I know he's got to roll out.
Bang. Yeah, he's going to get suspended. We don't like to play. He has had different incidences where he's kind of gone over the line. I understand the suspension. I do appreciate the dialogue around quarterbacks with, sliding earlier or doing that little fake slide. Mahomes likes to do that. Like you open yourself up to get hit. So that's a tough one. I like the physical part of the game, but I see why he got suspended. So I'll just leave it there. I'll probably talk about it more next week.
All right, talk about it more. In other words, he'll develop.
I'll save my follow-up question for next week then.
Cool.
All right.
All
All
right.
right. So it's good to see you, my friend.
All right, guys,
And
take
we'll
care.
see the nitty gritty, the next week about who's going to be happy between him and Obi. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see who's got the smile on their face and who's frowning.
By the way, you forgot to send me something. I looked all over. I couldn't find the schedule and stuff. Yeah, and send me the
Well, you haven't
send
been
me.
posting it anyways. You haven't been putting it on your screen, Mr. Clark.
Yeah, because usually by the time I forget.
Oh, wow.
I've been putting them up lately, but I haven't been putting them up. The video of Annie, I can't find it. And I should be able to. Well, actually, I can find it. But that being said, there's some interesting games this week. And by the way, we are missing somebody. Boy, you thought I threw some chair shots. I mean, we're missing Trey Mack here.
Yeah, is he working or something, or is he at work?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard from him. So hopefully everything is fine with him. But definitely a loss that we haven't heard from him. By the way,
check your messenger inbox. Check your messenger inbox.
I'll throw that out there. Before we go on to the next game, take a look at this, Cuervo. I saw this is just right now the way the playoff picture looks as far as that. And I'm not sure if Green Bay falls out with the loss or not. That part I don't know on Thursday night. But this is the way it's sitting right now. Based on, let's just say, before Thursday's game. And I am so baffled by where the Chargers are in this one. I was looking at this. I'm like, really? Are they really in the fifth spot? They've had the high hand lately. They've been playing some good football, even though they lost the Harbaugh Bowl. But take away from that this team has been in a lot of those games. What's your take up on what you see up on the screen here?
Well, I mean, I just think about when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about teams that we didn't really expect to see in this playoff picture. At the beginning, if you'd have told me at the beginning of the season that the Washington Commanders were going to be a wild card team, that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to be the 3. Is that the Steelers helmet as a 3 seed?
Yeah, that's the Steeler helmet. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't see the Steeler logo. So, and I know it's only on one side with the actual helmet, but yeah, if you'd have told me the Steelers are the 3 seed or that like I said, the Commanders are going to be. Yeah. Well, no, I actually picked the Falcons to win the South, but.
Yeah, but the way they're playing, I wouldn't expect to see it right now.
Or how about Seattle as a 3 seed in the NFC? Like, there's no way you could have convinced me that was going to be the case going into Week 14. So that's what I look at. Kansas City, Detroit, yeah, we knew that was coming. Philadelphia, we saw that coming. Buffalo, I think Buffalo's even surprising. I didn't give them much going into the season as well, losing everything that they lost. So, yeah,
the 49ers at 11, Cuervo.
And them not 11. Even being in it, the Bengals not being in it, the Cardinals even having a chance. Like, yeah, it just goes to show you as much as we think we know, we really don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that right there is a good, thing. I gives you a good idea of what you see, week in and week out. The Atlanta guy, listen, and you know me, I'm a Kirk Cousins fan. Oh my God, he's playing god awful. But I like him more because of the business side of him, but he also every once in a while does show up. But right now it doesn't look all that good as far as that's concerned. But that being said, we got games to talk about. So we'll hop right into them and talk about the Tennessee and Jacksonville game. Listen, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think they can do anything to get a victory. I mean, obviously, no Trevor Lawrence. That's a big thing. Listen, Now, can we say I was right at the beginning of the season about the Jacksonville Jaguars? Not even just the Jaguars, but before the season started with the pickup of Mac Jones. Can we say I was right yet about Mac Jones?
Right about what?
He sucks. He sucks. He sucked. He always sucked. He's no good. He's proved it even as a backup quarterback that he sucks.
Sonny, that's why the Jaguars were able to trade for him and only give up what, 6th round, 7th round pick? Because he sucks. We all knew that already.
But I listen. I listen. I remember. Maybe it was just Bryce on my ass. It could have been. But when I said this was not the pick, this is not the guy. I don't care if he was a first rounder. I don't give a rat's fat ass who he had with him. This was not the guy. And listen, I'll even go to it. Yeah, give me Kirk Cousins all day long. I mean, listen, this guy is proven that he just doesn't have the handle of what the NFL defenses bring to him week in and week out.
Yeah, look, you guys never, the Jaguars never brought him in to take over for Trevor Lawrence or be the starter. It was always the plan to be at the backup. So
right, but it even proves it. Listen, who was up in arms about that? Me. I didn't want this guy. There were just too many other names that are on there, and the problem is that he was a first round draft pick in the same one with Trevor Lawrence, and so that's the reason why this whole thing and the thinking that their head coach, as the offensive mind that he supposedly is, he has two first rounders he could do something with. Well, obviously that was not a good a good thinking to that part of it. It just makes me sick. The Jaguars are they're going to have their quarterback in Tennessee look like he is a first round draft pick, a very high one, because Will Levis is just going to have their way with him. Listen, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be the big blowout that we saw earlier this year, but I think they win by at least 10 today. I'm all over Tennessee.
Let me ask you a question, Sonny. When it comes to the running game for the Jaguars, is Travis Etienne, is he healthy? Is he playing?
I can get that answer to you. I know he was hurt earlier in the week, but I'm not sure. Let me find out where. There it is, right here. Let me hit this, and I'll find out real quick.
Normally, I've got the injury report up. Let me pull it up too.
Well, and according to this, Etienne is not on the well, hold on there. Yeah, he's not on the injury list there, Cuervo, so he should be playing.
Okay. Then you know what? I give the Jaguars a solid chance. I do. I give them a chance because I think they're going to rely on the run game. Tennessee, I think at times can struggle. As good as they're up front, as good as they are, they seem to struggle at times stopping the runs. So I think that'll benefit the Jags, but they have to take advantage of that. And that's the question: is Doug Peterson going to coach a smart enough game to rely on that running game with him and Bigsby, with Etienne and Bigsby? That's a good combo you guys have.
It's a nice one too.
Yeah. So use those guys. Like, don't rely on Mac Jones because, like you said, he kind of sucks. He does. But that's what you mean. Look, you're not going to have a Joe Montana, Steve Young situation very often, and so you can't expect the backup to be just as good as a starter. It's a drop in talent when you go to your backup quarterback, and
especially when it's Mac Jones.
Especially when it's Mac Jones. But I'm by the slightest of edges, I am going to take Tennessee. But I really think that your Jags have a good chance. Look at the way they played Houston last week. They played good, and up until Trevor got hurt.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I am, Sonny. I'm telling you, there's a chance. By the way, when are we going to get Mr. Tom McManus from Buffalo Grove, Illinois, on this show?
I have not reached out to him because I've been watching. Do you want to talk a dude that's frustrated? You want to talk a dude that's right? You thought I was frustrated. Tom McManus is one frustrated guy. And I think I understand why. I think I understand why. And I think but this is the problem with their coach. Their coach is not able to sell what he is selling to that football team in order to be successful. And I'm telling you right now, McManus does not think it's the personnel out on the football field. And up until 3 weeks ago, you couldn't even say that he was thinking Doug Peterson is the problem. But what the problem is now is that the locker room is completely gone. There is no more locker room there. They're just going through the motions to get through the season. And especially with Trevor Lawrence going down, that makes it even worse. So I think that's what we're kind of looking at as far as where Tom McManus is. This is week. Yeah, I'll reach out to him and see if we can grab him up within the next couple of weeks and get a state of the Jaguars report from one Tom McManus. And I'll do that. I'll reach out to him. I know, but regardless of what the situation is in Jacksonville, it's summed up in reality.
Not going to amount to jack squat.
And that's where, unfortunately, they are today. But we'll find out. Well, and what I really want to know. And granted, I hate to say this, it's week 14 of the NFL. I really want to know what he thinks is if they get rid of the coach. And that's still going to be a question, mind you. If they get rid of the coach, who does he want in there? I'd be really interested to find out because he has not exposed that as of yet that I have seen. So we'll check that out. And yeah, we'll bring him up on the show and see where he's at. So. That being said, the Minnesota Vikings are at home taking on the Atlanta Falcons. And again, we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons holding the number 4 spot within the playoffs if they start right now. I don't know if they have a snowball chance in hell of winning this football game up in Minnesota. Outside of the fact, you just take a look at what this is all about. I love the home field advantage for Minnesota because of the craziness of their fans. I just love. Now, I only give that about a 10% portion on what you'll see out on the football field, how much of an influence that really is. But when you're looking at Minnesota and you're seeing what's going on with research, I don't even know if you want to call it a resurgent, but maybe just a surge of their quarterback playing for the first time like an NFL football quarterback.
Yeah. Hold on, give me a second. I got some little bug in the laptop, but yeah, look, I'm literally looking forward to this. I'm not even going to call it a revenge game for Kirk Cousins, but him going back to Minnesota, how is he going to be received, right? How's he going to be? Is he going to get booed? Is he going to get cheered? Hey, thanks for the one playoff win, Kirk, as a Viking. Because that's what it was, right? One playoff win.
After all that money he stole, got in his contract.
Right. So, because the year that they made it to NFC Championship game, I think that was Case Keenum at quarterback. Yeah. So he's got one playoff win.
Yeah, exactly. But and they should have never lost that football game, by the way. But it is what it is. So yeah, an interesting dynamic going into that game as far as what we could expect, in reality, from the home field, treating Kirk Cousins like a god, or the guy's going to get booed. If I think I know the Vikings fan base, that's going to be a big time boo happening in reality. Not because he was just what he was not able to do to help. Which, by the way, that loss wasn't necessarily his fault in reality in the playoffs. Just throw that out there for you. But that also being said, L is an L is an L, and fans don't forget the big time L's, and that's a big time L.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely a big time one. But that being said, I like the Vikings. I think
I do too.
I think the moment's going to be a little too big for Kirk Cousins. I think he might be in his head a little bit.
I think he is.
Yeah, and on top of that, I just the Falcons have been struggling a little bit. They haven't been playing to their full potential, I guess, if you want to say. It doesn't seem like Bijan Robinson's been too much of a factor. And, just Kirk Cousins, I mean, what was it, a week or two ago? 4 interceptions. Like, I mean, just turnover machine. He went from being, top 5 to 10 quarterback, the way he was playing in the beginning of the season, to throwing 4 picks in a game. Like, what's going on here? Where's the turnaround?
Right. 3 losses in the row for the Falcons. The Buccaneers win. Yep, and the Buccaneers winning 2 in a row to get to 6-6. Which, if you think about what's been going on in Tampa Bay, you would think their record was better. I mean, in reality, off the top of my head, I would not have thought of them as 6-6, but they are. But this is the time where Baker, if he's going to earn his money, maybe give consideration to getting more a little bit later on down the road. I think this is a game that he needs to come, this week. We'll talk about his game. But as far as Kirk Cousins is concerned and Atlanta, I defensively, Atlanta has been not there either. So, and a lot of the things that you're seeing with Kirk Cousins is the fact that he's got to make up from what the defense has actually been handing him too. So, the 3 and outs and everything, those aren't there. He's been able to get, sustain some drives, but the defense is not helping him out there. So that's another thing up on top of that. But I think Minnesota, and I don't know, that's an interesting NFC team in the playoffs. They can come by and they can do some damage in the playoffs without really anybody knowing about it. So it should be interesting. So, all right. So we're both up on Minnesota. The next game that I have up online is the Carolina Panthers on the road taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Cuervo. I don't know. Do you take anything into this game because of what they were able to do against Kansas City, that being Carolina, taking them to the final minute? To be honest, I think they were just toying with them in reality. I don't think they would go there. But Greg Weber has don't go anywhere, Greg Weber. I got a news flash that's going to be coming in here about your Philadelphia Eagles that I don't even think you know. So hold on, don't go anywhere. So Cuervo, what's your take up on it?
Well, since Greg's here, I'm taking the Panthers to win straight up.
So the Panthers right away. So I'm gonna hop in. So and here you go. All right. So Panthers, listen, they did what they did against the Chiefs. Okay. I think they were toying with them in reality. Okay. But they're going up against the 2024 Super Bowl champions. Yeah, I just said it. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this whole thing out. And Greg Weber is going to be the happiest guy in February. So, yes, I'm telling you right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now, and they have been for the last 3 weeks. Okay, they were a little bit spotty a little bit earlier, but right now, but that also being said, I don't want to see the Carolina Panthers hanging on in this game, and that's going to kill my prediction. It's going to make me go, God, what was I thinking? But right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best all-around football team in the NFL right now. So I'm on Philadelphia. So what's your take? And by the way, that was the news, Greg Wepper, that I don't think you even knew. But what do you think there, Cuervo? What's your take up on the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, listen, I think the Eagles are clicking on all cylinders right now. You look 2 weeks ago, the way that they dominated that game against the Rams. All they got to do is hand it off to Saquon Barkley, and he does what he does. So I don't expect like a 45-7 game, but I do think that the Eagles will have their way. I believe the game's in Philly, so I think the Eagles keep rolling. I mean, I don't see much of a chance that the Panthers have.
Yeah, I don't either. They're going to walk out.
This stinks! This is total BS!
And they're on their home field as far as that. But it probably does hurt. It's a nice thing about.
Well, listen, he's always trashing the Bears, and so they deserve some of it. But at the same time, it's like, hey, they do some good things at times. So, but he'll never give credit. He'll never say anything nice about the Chicago Bears. So it takes one to know one.
Well, there's a reason why.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
By the way,
you let Matty Eberflus off the hook. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, think about just really quick, Cuervo. I wonder who your guy Brian Poles would have picked if he didn't have to keep Eberflus. I wonder who. I mean, do you ever wonder who that might have been, or has he come out and said who he would have went after? That part I don't know.
No, but I really do think that. See, and it's hard to say Jim Harbaugh because the whole thing with Kevin Warren, I just think that Warren, you would think he's more professional than to say that, I don't want this guy because we didn't get along when I was in the Big Ten. Like, listen, man, business is business. You find a way to make it work. You find a way to work with people that you may not even like. Greg and I, we've loved each other since we met, but I know for a fact he's worked with people he didn't like. I've worked with people that I didn't get along with, but you make it work. You find a way to make it work because it's all about the end goal, and that's winning championships. Kevin Warren has preached that since the day he got to Chicago. And if Jim Harbaugh was going to be the guy to get that done, then you squash your past with that person and you find a way to win championships and be a well-ran organization, bottom line. So I don't know for sure if that would have been the pick. I do think, though, that Ryan Poles would have been very interested in at least talking to Jim because he knows his pedigree. He knows that everywhere he's gone, he's a winner. And that's what it's all about. So, but it's never going to come out. Yeah, and it's never going to come out like, oh, who he would have picked or who he wished he would have had. Maybe, one day after he's not the GM of the Bears anymore, he'll be like, hey, remember when, we brought you? I actually wanted to bring this guy. Who knows? Maybe it's one of those dirty little secrets that'll never be revealed until later on. That's why I can't wait for this Patriots documentary that one day will come out with Belichick and Brady. So, no, but yeah, because I know there's probably a lot to be talked about between those two, but yeah, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Here's what I'm going to say. I hate to say this to you, Cuervo, but I changed my pick. There's way too much positive talk about the Chicago Bears going in today's game. I know there's a lot of injuries, and I even tried to do it. I think I tried to talk myself into the Bears. Yeah. So, all right. Give me a second. I'll put it back up. He wants me to put this graphic up. Let me find it here. Here are my graphics right here. Where is it? Right here. Oh, the injury report. No. I don't know. What one are you talking about? Oh, you want to put that back up, Cuervo?
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at what they got going on here.
Rest. Saquon Barkley rest. So are they resting Saquon Barkley in this game?
No, this was from Friday.
That's Friday.
It's just saying that he didn't practice on Friday.
On Friday, got it.
Because they were giving him a day to rest.
Yeah, which is a good idea. Give your guys that time. As far as that is concerned, it is the Carolina Panthers. We can say whatever they want, but it was just from practice. But interestingly enough, so that said. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. There's just way too much positive talk that the 49ers got to win that game. So I did officially make this, and I hit the save button too. So I'm stuck with that. So I'll be on San Francisco.
He's picking the Bears today. Wow, thanks, Craig. That's really thoughtful, buddy.
Yeah, that's Merry Christmas. He says.
Took a lot of effort to say I'm picking the Bears. That's funny.
But that said, all right. So that'll take us into the next game as we're at the top of the hour. Now, do you want to keep going until we finish up and we'll end early, or you want to take a break?
Let's go break. And then we'll hit rapid fire.
We'll end a little early today as the Miami Dolphins are at home taking on the Jets. Don't have a lot to say about this except more than the fact that I knew it was a mess up there in New York, but God. I guess maybe I'm just naive. Maybe it's because I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is as bad as he is. But guess what? He's as bad as he is. His demeanor, his personality, his diva-like attitude is just really. You want to talk about knock down a franchise and set it back a couple of years? That's all you're seeing right now in reality. But here's my thinking. Those that thought bringing in his guy Adams at the time of the season that they did to think that was actually going to really help, I think everybody, Jets fan, including the front office, was a little delusional.
Adams? Devontae Adams. But
when they did. Yeah, when they did. Now, if they brought him in a month before that, I think I would have been all over the idea of the Jets getting back. But they were already so far gone. It's unbelievable as far as that is concerned. But you also take a look at where the Jets are within their own division. They've only won 3 games, but at that time, they had only won 2. When they brought in Adams. And if they were able to bring him in a little bit earlier to get some W's, I might have fallen for a little bit of the idea of maybe this is coming back. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. That's because the Big Ten's weak, and teams like Ohio State and Michigan let Oregon just push them around and let them take it in the first year. The first year that they're in the Big Ten, they took the crown from you, Sonny. OB, all you Big Ten guys. Let me tell you something. That don't happen in the SEC. Texas, you gotta earn your keep. You gotta do your time in the SEC if you want to be champions.
Yeah, you gotta lose a lot like Tennessee did for the last 4 or 5 years. So there you go.
Unlike that weak ass Big Ten, Oregon just comes in and just takes it from you like candy.
Yeah, that's what that is right there. Some of the exactly. So, all right. So next game up on tap is in Miami. I'm on Miami. As far as that, the Jets are as bad. They are who we thought they were too. Especially with the diva like of what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers. What you're
I'm still here, Sonny.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. Oh, wait. I wonder. I just wonder. What's your take up on this one?
Who's Miami playing again?
Miami is at home. They're taking on the Jets.
I like the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a different team at home. Tua just seems to just rip the ball when in the nice weather and all that good stuff. So and the Jets are starting to fall apart a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, now he's like, I don't know if I'm coming. He's already starting his shenanigans, Sonny. I don't know if I'm coming back. I may come back. I may not come back. Oh, shut up, dude. Just the Jets just need to move on.
Just really quick, with you saying that, did he just come out and say that, or was he asked about his future and he answered it? And then he could have definitely had a different answer if that was the case in reality. But I mean, in reality, he answers questions, or did he come out and say, or do you know?
Deal with it, Sonny. Deal with it. Anyway,
I got it.
No, yeah, he would, because that he goes on Pat McAfee's show every Tuesday, and so I think Pat kind of stirred the pot on that, and I think he asked him about it, and so in typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, well, I may come back, I may not come back.
He goes on this sabbatical, where he goes off and supposedly gets away from all of that. I don't. By the way, I don't buy it for a second. That guy's got a cell phone glued to his hand. I'm not.
Yeah, and then he starts talking about, I'm going to sit in a dark room. I'm gonna, go
dark room with my iPhone.
Yeah, like I'm gonna do this ritual, and I'm gonna drink laxatives and figure it out. Like, dude, whatever, man. Just go away. Just go away.
I think I've had enough of them as well, and so that's something. The Jets are in home taking on the Saints. I don't know what
the Dolphins, Sonny.
They are, but I'm assuming you're on Miami, so I just made the assumption. Are you going to take the Jets today?
Who are the Jets playing? The Dolphins or the Saints? Because you just said the Jets playing the Dolphins. Now you said the Jets are playing the Saints.
Did I say the Jets? No, the Giants. I thought I said the Giants.
The other New York team.
The other New York team. Yes. Yeah. So I'm assuming you're on Miami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the Giants taking on the Saints in New York, or does it even matter? I hate this game. It's going to be a split amongst everybody probably betting it, in our pick'em league. And I just, I don't even have a clue in reality. So that's one, but I do think the Saints are a little bit better than they are. So it's kind of the reason why I'm going to go. Now, if they're at home, there's no question, but the fact that they are in New York, I don't know how that pans out for the Saints. Give me a reason to pick the Giants.
Cold weather. Maybe the Saints can't handle that. I mean, there's really no real reason, Sonny. I mean, weather.
Gotcha.
That would be the best argument.
Yeah. So by the way, who's starting, Drew Lock or the other guy?
Drew Lock actually. Yes, yeah. I believe it's him over Tommy Cutlets DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Yeah, okay.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Saints. Who are you gonna grab up in this one?
I'm going Saints as well.
Gotcha. Not a bad pick at all. Now, Tampa Bay has an interesting game against the Las Vegas Raiders here today. And again, I'm actually not even thinking about what was going on as far as that was concerned. I did not realize that the Buccaneers were 6-6. I thought they were better just off the top of my head, and evidently they're not. But it is that division right now with Atlanta supposedly on top, but they got the same record, both at 500. big game here in reality for the NFC South team, that being the Buccaneers. This is a big game for them. I think they need to win. I think they're going to get it. What do you think?
Wait, who are they playing again?
The Buccaneers. They are in action. They are taking on the
Raiders. Okay. Gotcha. Good switch. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's the first compliment he's ever given Tennessee. Anyways.
I understand.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's no doubt Oregon's going to be the number 1 seed, so we might as well just forget about that. Let's see what everything else looks like, right? The bracket's about to come out. We're going to find out who's playing who in the first round of the playoff. That's why I switched over to this sweater. But give me Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think, is going to have their way with the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders, I just wonder what the locker room is like right now. Is Antonio Pierce still have control of what's going on with the Raiders, or is it starting to slip away? And are the Raiders thinking, oh man, we might have jumped the gun. Maybe Antonio Pierce is not who we thought he was, and they're going to be searching for a head coach next season too. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next game up on tap is a pretty good one. The Arizona Cardinals are at home taking on the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks just took over the division lead. They are 7-6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 7-5 up on the season. The Cardinals are 6-6, along with the Rams and the 49ers still in it. An important game for all the teams within the NFC West to get the victory. But when you're going head-to-head, someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. What's your take on the Cardinals taking on the Seahawks in Arizona?
I kind of lean towards Arizona, Sonny. This is another team that they get like this jolt of energy when they're at home. In Seattle, I mean, they've shown that they can win games on the road. They went to San Francisco not too long ago and beat the 49ers before the injuries really started piling up.
Yes.
And beat them. Geno Smith put his Superman cape on and said, I got this, boys. And they went down there. They drove down, you know the story.
Yep.
So that's why this one for me, and I don't call for it. It's very, 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 very rare that I call for the couch potato quarter. But I might need it for this one. I
understand. So are you saying I need to flip the couch potato quarter? Because my wife had stole all my quarters, even the one off of my desk. So I don't even think I have a couch potato. I have a couch potato penny.
Georgia is number 2. Wow. Didn't see that coming.
I got a couch potato penny.
All right, so Sonny, I'm going to let you pick this game for me then.
So whose heads, whose tails?
We'll say heads is Seattle and tails is Arizona.
And the Couch Potato Sports Show says heads.
Okay, so then I'm taking Arizona. That's a penny, sir.
That's what I said. My wife has stolen all my quarters, so I only have a couch potato penny.
All right, well, then I guess I'm taking the Cardinals at home.
With the couch potato penny. So I'm on Arizona too. And more in the fact, this game should be very interesting. But here's the big thing. In Seattle, and people who hate my take up on Geno Smith can hate the take all day long. But sooner or later, Geno Smith is gonna show and rear his head, and it's usually on the road. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. Not that I think they're that much better of a football team. Obviously, they're hanging around 500 for a reason. That's who they are. So, but I'm going to stick with the Arizona Cardinals in this one. So, next game up on board. I don't have a lot to talk about Buffalo and the Rams, except for the Rams are in at home, and they are in that division fight. Within that, they are 6-6 as well. Talk about a football team that needs a victory. It's the Rams, but I don't know if they're going to get it today, Cuervo.
No, I don't see it happening either. Honestly, I give the Rams no shot. I think Buffalo is just clicking on all cylinders, man. And Josh Allen is really making me eat a lot of crow this year. Not to say that I think he's a bad quarterback. He's still a good regular season, and they're just doing better than I thought. They really are, and we'll see if he can get over the playoff hump. But as of right now, he's that guy. He is that guy.
And the Buffalo Bills are my AFC pick to make the Super Bowl. So yes, I have Eagles, Bills in the Super Bowl. As of right now, they're just a better team in the AFC as well. And Cuervo's off to the side and getting the messages in there. So, but I have Philadelphia and the Buffalo Bills. I usually wait until about week 15, but I think it's just too obvious. Oh, hi, Missy. I got the little moo here. I got my moo.
What's up, Kitty?
Yeah, that's Missy. She's hanging out.
Missy.
She was sitting on the pillow before we came on air. I was wondering if she was going to hang out, but she just wants to know why I've been gone so long. But I do. I have Buffalo and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, and I hate to tell Greg Weber this.
I can see that.
I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. I just think they're but mainly because of the competition. I think it's better in the AFC, and that's just going to drive them to be that much better in the AFC or in the Super Bowl. So, but that being said, the next game up on board, it is the Kansas City Chiefs at Los Angeles taking on the Chargers. This is a game the Chargers need, Cuervo. And by the way, they haven't been playing good, but I think they've been playing a game of cat and mouse, speaking of Missy, against teams that they should be blowing out, and they're just keeping them in the game. I think this is a team, that being the Kansas City Chiefs, that have the ability to turn it on and off when they want to. But I think the Chargers at home. I think they got a good shot. I'm going Chargers. What you got?
I'll take KC. Look, until somebody can prove that they can beat the Chiefs in a close game, because their one loss was against Buffalo, and they Buffalo kind of ran away with it. So until somebody shows that they can beat the Chiefs in a close game, I'm not going to pick against them. So I'll take Kansas City.
You know, you made a very valid point. I'm going to make the switch back into it. It's Sunday Night Football, by the way, so all eyes will be on that game as well.
Yeah,
and that's a tough one. I'm telling you, if it was during the regular time, I might do that. But you know, everything changes when you get into prime time in reality. So I think they'll keep it close, but I'm going to go Kansas City prime time. I forgot about that factor that's on there. And then Monday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. This is another pick 'em. I was online this morning looking at what people are picking. People are actually picking the Dallas Cowboys in this game, and I get why, but I don't at the same time. I mean, the better football team, better personnel in reality is, with the Bengals. But whether or not they can get the win, I don't know. What do you think?
This is a tough one too, Sonny. I mean, look, I'm trying to not be fooled by what we saw on Thanksgiving Day with the Dallas Cowboys.
Good point.
It was the Giants that they played. So I think that I'm going to go Cincinnati. You can't deny how well that offense is clicking right now. With now that Higgins is back for them, I know he was out for a little while, but they've been back in the rhythm that we know them to be in with T. Higgins back in the lineup. So, give me the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow is going to carve them up.
Yeah, and thinking about that as well, as far as Dallas, they got the win again, a good quality win against Washington in Washington. I think that's probably more the reason why people are kind of looking at Dallas in a little bit of a different way. That was a good quality win. And by the way, a good quality win that they needed in reality, because Houston just embarrassed them on Monday Night Football the week before that. So yeah, I think this is a game where you can get caught up into the rah-rahness of what the Dallas Cowboys are. But I ain't going. I'm not going Dallas. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. I think they get the win on Monday Night Football, unless something crazy happens with injuries. That's about where I'm at right now. So, all right. So I think we got no Podfather. I will reach out and see how he's doing. And make sure he's okay. We're going to end a half hour early. It was good to see Bryce and Obi with their tradition that's going to be happening. That's going to be a very interesting game. Any parting shots before we're out of here today, Cuervo?
Well, like I said, I mean, Thomas Brown, interim head coach for the Bears, he's got the opportunity to do something that Matt Eberflus couldn't do in 2.5 seasons, and my fingers are crossed that he gets it done. So let's go Bears. Bear down.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interesting to see if the Jaguars are actually capable.
Whoa, baby. Yes, sir.
What?
It is, in fact, confirmed.
All right, go ahead. Go do the whole thing. Is it all done yet?
Tennessee at the Horseshoe in Columbus.
Wow. Tennessee
Round
at Horseshoe.
one.
Man, when is that game, by the way?
I don't know. They haven't released the dates and times yet, but yep, Obi and I are going head to head with our college teams. And
well, we might have to do an interim show because of that. I mean, I love the rivals, within it. Now, we didn't do it with the Wolverines and the Buckeyes because I'm going to be honest, I thought the Buckeyes were going to wipe them out. So the fact they lost that game just gives me a little chuckle. But I think, this is the playoffs, the first year of the expansion. And I think this is a really good thing, actually, for college football. Is it a good thing for college football, you think, Cuervo? Well, it has to be because your Tennessee Vols are in it.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, I mean.
Would they be in it if it was the top 4? Probably not.
Well, neither would Ohio State, but.
Exactly. Especially after that loss against Michigan.
I think I've always said that I thought 12 was too many. I think that 8 was going to be the right number, which means Tennessee would be out. And you know what? That's fine. I mean, they lost a game they had no business losing against Arkansas, and that would be the reason they would be out in an 18 playoff. I'm a fan of 8, but I'm not part of the committee.
Hey, you don't make the rules. You're just going to root for your team, man.
That's it. That's all I can do. So so far for you college junkies like me out there, the bye seeds are Oregon, basically all the conference champions. Oregon, Big 12 or Big 10 champ. You got Georgia, the SEC champion. Boise State gets a bye because they won the Mountain West. And then the last one is Obi's other team, Arizona State Sun Devils. So they're the ones that get the bye. Yep. And then the matchups for the first round so far, we got, as I mentioned, Tennessee's going to the Horseshoe in Columbus to play Ohio State. You've got an in-state game with the University of Indiana. The Hoosiers are playing in South Bend. Touchdown Jesus going to Notre Dame. And you've got Clemson, who won the ACC but didn't get a bye. They're going to go down to Austin to play Texas.
I think that would be a good game. That could be a real good game.
Now we're waiting to see who's the last team to get in that's going to play in Penn State. That's going to go up
Penn State because Penn State. Yeah, gotcha. And
who's going to be that last team?
Decision?
They're about to reveal it now. I have a feeling there's no way that the committee is going to let Alabama out of it, even though they lost 3 games. I think SMU should be the team. But we're going to find out here in a matter of a few seconds.
Well, the problem with that, and just to throw this out, SMU is right down the street from us over here in Fort Worth.
It is SMU, so no Alabama. Good.
Interestingly enough. Go ahead.
No, because I was going to say, Sonny, if they let Bama in this thing, not that I'm afraid of Alabama or anything like that. I just think that would show so much bias towards the university. And yes, even the SEC, even though I'm a SEC fan, I just don't think Alabama did enough to get in the playoff this year. They lost 3 games.
But here's the only thing about Alabama. Alabama is Alabama, right? So SMU, we're not talking about the Mustangs up there, every year, doing what they're doing. So I thought maybe it would be Alabama over SMU in reality because of the history of what Alabama brings to the table year in, year out, more so than SMU. So I'll be honest, I didn't think SMU would make it. Now, does that make? And who are they playing? They're playing Notre Dame.
SMU is going to play Penn State.
Penn State, gotcha. So so there you go. See you in the horseshoe, Obi. So that should be really interesting. The one ahead of that, my brother. Oh, yeah, shit, Lord have mercy. Anyway, that's my brother. Anyway, so that's going to do it for us. We're in about a half hour early here today. And
we got through the games that fast?
Say again?
We got through the games that fast?
Yeah. We don't have the Podfather in here, so that kind of let's see. We did Detroit, Tennessee, Miami, we did that, Minnesota, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Buffalo, San Francisco, Kansas City. Yep, we got through them all. It's because there's some teams on the bye as well, so that's the reason why we don't have 16 teams going off today right now. So okay. All right, very good. All right, there it is. Yeah, see you in the horseshoe. Yeah. So. By the way, I like the burnt orange color, by the way, more so than the bright orange, So
you like the Texas orange more than Tennessee's orange?
They're about the same, aren't they? I mean, I think no. Is it
no?
A little bit more burnt.
The orange is a little bit brighter, and the Texas one is more of the burnt orange.
Yeah, I think I like Tennessee better than I don't like anything in Texas. So there you go. I don't care about the Mavericks. I don't care about the Rangers. I don't care about the Astros. I don't care about the Texans. I don't care about any teams in here. However, Houston, they're on the bye this week, and you want to talk? I find that. What a good time for them to get their stuff together to head into, the rest of the season. I mean, week 14, that's a good late one. And next week, who do they got next week? They have Miami. What a one to come back at home, too, by the way. So they get a good one coming off of the bye. And depending on what happens with Miami, that should be really interesting. Miami at home this week. So should be interesting. So. All right, my man. So you go get some more coffee. Say hi to your lovely wife for us over here. Yeah, the Denver Broncos are on the bye too as well. So, late season bye for them. That's actually pretty good for them too. They're going to keep the hot hand going through it. Let's see where are just really quick the AFC West Broncos 8-5. Oh my gosh! Listen, I don't know if I would have thought the Broncos would be 8-5. So congratulations to them moving into the season. Although she doesn't like the coach, but she likes that 8-5 record. So that's pretty cool. So, all right, my man. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We will check it out. I'm going to be watching Red Zone. I'm going to do an all-dayer here today. I've been doing a lot of stuff on the afternoon game, so I'm going to sit and watch all of the games here today. So
yeah, I'll be watching a little bit in the morning, and then I'm actually going to meet up with a couple of coworkers. My coworkers, they're both 49er fans. So
okay, Bears and 49. Yeah, there you go. Hey, I'm on their side, by the way. You're a coworker.
You go right ahead.
Positive,
You be on their
positive vibe. Yeah, there's just too many people talking about how great they are. So, all right. So that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Everybody have a great day. We'll speak with you next week as we get the decision of today's game, Pittsburgh and the Browns. I wonder who's going to be happy and who's going to be sad. I think Bryce is going to be happy, and well, I think Obi's ready for it, so that's the way it's going to work. So, all right, everybody, take care. We'll catch you next week on the Couch Potato Sports Show for week number 15 in the NFL. We're out of here, everybody. Bye-bye.